Skin that hard away Southern T. Back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, I greatly appreciate you sliding through. If it's your first time, do your boy solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button as well. We talk this good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, predictions every single day, not just today. Today, we here with a boxing EP. We got Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. This is the rematch. The first match was highly interesting, highly controversial, right? All things considering, Alexander Usyk got the victory in the first fight. He ended up stopping Dan Du Bois in that first fight, but some people feel like there was a low blow or there wasn't a low blow, right? That was called a low blow, which extended the fight, and that helped Alexander Usyk gain an advantage, right? But you also have some people who feel like that Alexander Usyk was winning that fight easy, and that Dan Du Bois really did hit him low, and that Alexander Usyk was going to win that fight regardless. Either way, right? We got the rematch. Since then, Dan Du Bois has yet to lose. Dan Du Bois has looked damn good. You know what I mean? Since that last fight, Dan Du Bois is now the is it the IBO champion of the world. Alexander Usyk has 3 titles. Daniel Du Bois has 1. So technically, this fight, not even technically, this fight is for undisputed. Is for the undisputed championship of the world. This is a belt that Alexander Usyk had to vacate in order to fight Tyson Fury, and Daniel Du Bois ended up winning this belt. Speaking, of Daniel Du Bois and what he has done since that first Usyk fight, then the voice almost looks like a whole new fighter. Not in the sense of fight style or anything like that, but mostly confidence. You know what I mean? Then the voice is a fairly young fighter, 27 years old. He's been boxing for a while. He feels a little older than 27, right? But he's 27, so he's young. He experienced a lot of these fights early in his career, and he may just be hitting that stage where he's reached ultimate confidence, right? A lot of that has to do with him beating Anthony Joshua in his last fight. He also beat Flip Hergovic in the fight before that, and Jared Miller in the fight before that, since losing to Alexander Usyk. He has 3 straight stoppages since losing to Alexander Usyk. One of those stoppages being Anthony Joshua, a guy that Alexander Usyk also beat twice and faced off against as well. Again, I don't have to say, too much about these two guys, right? We pretty much know they've been in the ring together. Then the boy 6'5", 78-inch arm reach. Alexander Usyk coming up from cruiserweight, right, 6'3", 78-inch arm reach. So then the boys is a little taller, but they have the same exact arm reach. Alexander Usyk is coming off 2 straight wins over Tyson Fury, 2 straight decision wins, one being the UD, the other being a split decision, and Daniel Du Bois in 2023 before that, right? So this is going to be Alexander Usyk's first fight since his second fight with Tyson Fury. So these guys are similar in stature. These guys already have one fight of familiarity under their belt. I think I think this fight is interesting, right? For multitude of different reasons. If you're thinking that Daniel Du Bois is going to win, it's because of how he has looked lately, right? You're thinking his confidence is on 10, and you're thinking that he landed that body shot on Alexander Usyk in the first fight, right? He can land it on him again. If you're thinking that Alexander Usyk wins this fight, then you're kind of looking at it like, well, Alexander Usyk pretty much outboxed him, you know what I mean, that whole first fight and stopped him. Yeah, there was a little controversy with the body. Was it a body shot? Wasn't it a body shot? It was called the low blow. But you, but you could say that Alexander Usyk was outboxing him before the body shot, and he stopped him after the body shot. Right in this fight, Then the boys has been looking good over his last 3 fights, right? But I do think Alexander Usyk is probably, the best heavyweight fighter in the world. If Dane the boys beats Alexander Usyk, he essentially beats the heavyweight king at this point. But I honestly feel like if if Andre had if Alexander Usyk beats Dane the boys, then he really doesn't have much left to prove as far as this point. I would think maybe this is Alexander Usyk is nearing the end of his career. Uh, unless Father Time, just catches up to Alexander Usyk, right? He is 38 years old. That's very well a thing that could happen. 38-year-old Alexander Usyk versus Daniel the boys who's 27 years old. That is what's giving me a lot of cause to pause in this fight. On top of Daniel the boys being able to land those body shots, Daniel the boys, work rate can be a problem. He tends to slow down later on in fights, right? Which is why I am going to edge Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk is the older guy, but he isn't the one necessarily with the gas tank problems in this fight, right? I'm thinking Alexander Usyk will be able to get this fight into the deeper waters, take some of that sting and some of that power off Daniel Dubois's shots, be able to outbox Daniel Dubois. Possible late stoppage again, Alexander Usyk, but I'm thinking Alexander Usyk wins this fight. And I would probably, just take Alexander Usyk on the money line at this point. But Daniel Dubois is one of those guys, right? He kind of stops you or he gets stopped, right? Alexander Usyk almost stopped Tyson Fury. If we're being real, he had Tyson Fury knocked out on his feet. You know what I mean? In that first fight. So Alexander Usyk is the guy who could knock you out as well. We know with his accuracy and his timing, right? With his punches. Alexander Usyk is a high level boxer. Then the boys can box. I think Alexander Usyk will be able to navigate and find then the boys and eventually break him down. The more I think about it, I am leaning Alexander Usyk stoppage, right? But for right now, we'll just take Alexander Usyk, you know what I mean, on that money line. Alexander Usyk money line is minus 450, so not the sexiest thing that you could take, right? But you know what? Alexander Usyk stoppage, man, it's plus 100, right? Let's go Alexander. I know they had met this before. Let's go Alexander Usyk with the stoppage. I think it'll be a later stoppage rather than the earlier stoppage. I don't really want to go, 1 through 6 or 7 through 11 because I do think it'll be later, right? But it being 7 through 11, it's heavyweight. You just never know. A fifth round heavyweights, they tend to look like they've been fighting 10 rounds when they're in the second round, right? But Alexander Usyk for the win. I think the money line is a lot. I am leaning Alexander Usyk KO TKO victory. That will be plus 100. Alexander Usyk for the win in the rematch versus Daniel Dubois. I do think accumulation, knockout accumulation stoppage, will be the move for Alexander Usyk. So that's the move, man. We got Alexander Usyk to win. You could take him on the money line, or you could take him with a KO. But Alexander Usyk is the pick. What's good? Shout out my guy Tillers. Appreciate. He said Shiraz money line, Stevenson points. I tell your picks. And they won. Appreciate you, my guy Tellers. Shout out my guy Ray Buck. Was good, Ray. My guy Phil Still was good, Phil. Mr. Mechanical was good, Mr. Mechanical. My guy Big Tex was good, Big Tex. Appreciate y'all folks sliding through. Right. But we get Alexander Usyk for the win. The money line will be, the safe play, the lock play, the sure play, right? Whatever you want to call it. I do think Alexander Usyk gets the KO of Daniel Dubois plus 100. Skin the heart away, Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but it's the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out.